It was a rough night for Britney Spears last night. She was at the famed Chateau Marmont on the Sunset Strip, a very famous hotel, with her boyfriend, Paul Solis. And it ended up with police coming, an ambulance coming, and guests in the hotel feared she was having a nervous breakdown. Things were so out of control.
And the images of Britney outside of the hotel are alarming in that they look very much like images we saw years ago when she actually did have a breakdown. But she was walking outside of the hotel with almost nothing on. She had shorts on, but she's covered by a blanket and pillow.
Charles, I got to tell you,
when you see the paramedic,
when you see that gurney, what I think of is 2007, where she ended up strapped to it.
Right.
And that's what people in the hotel feared, that she was harassing guests, screaming in the hotel where it wasn't one person calling, it was multiple people calling.
Calling the hotel, calling police, calling for paramedics, and both of whom showed up. Police showed up earlier in the evening. They walked around the lobby of the chateau. They didn't see anything, and they ended up leaving. But then what we're told, Britney and Paul went to a hotel room where they were partying for
there was a lot of drinking, we're told.
And during that time in the hotel room, they ended up getting into a very loud altercation, an altercation that turned physical at some point. And the noise that they were making was so loud.
And it spilled out into the hallway. Now, we are also told she may have actually been cut during the fight. We don't know how that could have happened. She could have hit a table or whatever. But it was a very, very loud, ferocious sounding fight, at least according to all the people who were around there.
Right.
I don't know if they knew it was Britney and they knew her history, or they just heard the screams. Maybe it was a combination. I don't know.
Yeah, Harvey, so, you know, when the cops came, it's very interesting because I talked to some law enforcement sources. When they got the first call around 10:30, the description was a female, blonde, white, about 5'2", was threatening customers and threatening employees. And when they got there, they couldn't find anybody, no victims, nobody there. And what's also interesting is nobody said Britney at that point to the cops or anything.
Yeah, they may not have known it was Britney.
Yeah, and also I would imagine if they were talking to hotel staff, this is the Chateau Marmont. They're not going to mention a celebrity.
Are you right there?
Right, they're not going to mention a celebrity.
Are you right?
And guys, to go back to that incident around 11, they had gone up to the room and the physical fight had happened. People that were there that we've spoken to describe almost as if Britney was having some sort of nervous breakdown or a meltdown of that sense. And you can see from these pictures, she obviously is terrorized, one, by the fact that the paps and the flash are going off. But the people that we spoke to that were there just say that the way she was acting was almost like she was having some kind of nervous meltdown.
And we've been hearing this, and it's kind of interesting that at about the same time, we broke a story that her divorce with Sam has been settled, and Sam was on the receiving end of some of these tirades. And, you know, we told you about
during their marriage.
During their marriage, where she hit him when he was sleeping. She would just go off at times. And what we're hearing is this is just an increasingly alarming problem that she has been having. Remember, there's nobody really caring for her in terms of like the conservatorship with doctors and psychologists and whatnot, and also taking meds has been an issue. So this is a dire situation.
You know, I hadn't connected the two until you just said it, but the fact that
the timing is
that she was she out, and we don't know this, was she out last night sort of celebrating the end of that the divorce was settled? I don't know, but it really was around the same time.
It was an hour after we posted the story.
Then this meltdown, as it's been described, is happening in the hotel. She ended up leaving, by the way, on her own with her security. She was not transported in the ambulance, and I know
without Paul.
Yeah, and without Paul, he left separately. But in the photos, you were looking there for any sign of a cut.
We couldn't see
something on her knee, but that could be an old scar. It was hard to tell if that was a fresh cut, but there was no bandage there.
But she may have been cut during the fight. But I think, honestly, the bigger issue is that it was so loud. The behavior was so alarming that, I mean, think about calling and saying somebody may be having a nervous breakdown. that's got to be
Right. What you're hearing has to be.
on a Richter scale. It's got to be a 9.
Yeah.
That multiple people would be calling that way.
I'm Josh. This is from New York. This is some really difficult news to learn. I think that after the news that her divorce had been settled, we were all kind of hoping for the best for Britney and that she could put this cycle of chaos behind her. But this is just really difficult to learn. I'm still hoping for the best from her and that she'll be able to pull through. But it just seems that chaos follows her wherever she goes.
Well, she needs help. I mean, and again, we have talked about this. I'm just going to give my personal opinion about this. I think it was a big mistake to end this conservatorship. And it was maybe bad casting, but at least she was protected. And she's not protected now. And you see literally Britney Spears unraveling. And it just feels really alarming.
Yeah.